Hi, Gems. It's your girl Amber here, and today I wanted to do things a little bit different. I'm either always doing a talk over or pre recorded conversations, but today, since I have the time, I wanted to do a little chit chat, get ready with me. I am preparing to go out with some friends later, so being as though I actually have the time, the house is quiet because y'all know I live with two little boys and a man, and if it's not the Xbox, it's the PlayStation, or it's rumbling and so forth. So let's just jump right into it, and we'll just chat along the way. I was actually considering having a conversation about the whole hashtag Dear Me, and I found it to be interesting. When I started my YouTube channel, my whole premise for even beginning something like this is I moved across the country and I felt like, who's going to do my hair? Who's going to do my eyebrows? I mean, you know, the concerns of most women, specifically black women as well. So I found myself really thinking about, you know, the things that I've experienced in my life, being a little black girl, growing up and really embracing who I am. So before we get into that, I want to let you know I've already washed my face, so I have a clean canvas. In my other tutorials, I spoke about my issues with just having oily skin, and I do everything I can to mattify this mug as much as possible. So I'm starting out with my MAC Oil Control Lotion, just as a base to start with some moisture, since I've already washed it out. And I use First Aid Beauty Cleanser because it's like a creamy area. I really like it. And it doesn't leave my face too dry, but I know this face she'll be shining in no time. So we start with the oil control lotion. Then I go in with a illuminating base makeup, and this is by Chanel. And I use this sparingly, honey, because this was not cheap, but she does what she needs to do throughout the day. It's just a great, again, another great base before applying your foundations. And I put this all over. And I think I mentioned in another tutorial, you know, your foundations will work with you and last all day as long as you set down a really strong base foundation, for lack of a better word, on your face. So we've done the lotion, the oil control lotion. We have our base, our Chanel base, and then I go in with my primer. And I've tested out quite a few, but what I've landed on and I am sticking true and loyal to until someone else comes and blows my mind is the Becca Ever Matte Poreless Priming Perfector. And when I initially got this, because I got a small little tester, I was only using it like in my T-zone. Then I was like, well, what if I put this all over my face? And it's just been doing everything I needed to do. So I just apply this in my T-zone, and any leftover I kind of spread out across my face. And when you're rubbing in moisturizers or primers, they always say to pull the skin back so that you can kind of have a more tighter, you know, ageless looking, you know, you don't want to put too much work on your face like you beating yourself up, but pulling the face back to tighten, essentially. So we're primed and we're ready to go. Sometimes I like to put my foundation on first. Sometimes I like to put my brows on first. But today is one of those put the brows on first kind of day. So back to what we were kind of talking about, the whole Dear Me. So if I could write a letter to my past self and my future state, I would have to say that, the age 14 to 15 was really bizarre for me. First of all, fast forward 15 years, I am 100% a girly girl. Love being a female. Love everything about smelling good and looking good and being pretty. And I mean, don't get me wrong, not girly girl in the sense of I can't throw a ball, you know, because I did play basketball in high school, in college, and softball. You know, it's very athletic. So it definitely was a way of life for me. And that reflected a lot in the way that I carried myself. I mean, I was 100% a tomboy through and through. Me and Abercrombie and Finch on the boys' side, we was like, what's up? I'm back for another sweater. And I'm not really dating myself much. Maybe I am, because it was like, that moment was all about Abercrombie in the late 90s. So yeah, I really didn't know what I wanted to be, how I wanted to present myself. I just knew I was outgoing. I knew I wasn't shy. But I really didn't have an identity per se. Especially coming from private school where you're in uniform, you really don't know what you like and, what's your style, because everyone's wearing the same getup. You know what I'm saying? So going and transitioning to a public school was, one, just like a crazy, I don't know, how do you say this? Like, it was a culture shock, to be quite honest, because as you can imagine, those who go to private school, there's this unbalance of diversity. I'm trying to be as PC as possible. And, it was like me and one other girl were African American. Actually, the other girl was African. And to this day, we're still very cool. And I always felt like we had a connection based on just the struggle of kind of looking at each other and thinking, you look like me, I look like you. And once we got into high school, it was a bit of a shock to be, in a predominantly Black school around so many beautiful women who come from different walks of life. And I just didn't know where I kind of fit in. So I, obviously gravitated towards sports. But it wasn't until maybe 10th grade, and we had this organization called the Fashionettes, and this group of women, or young women at the time, were just so fashion forward, and it was just a big thing in the city to be a part of the Fashionettes. You were stylish and you could walk, and honey, you hit that catwalk, and you were all things girly. And I was very intrigued by this. Like, I want to look pretty. Of course, let's just keep it 100. The attention of boys. I'd be lying if I said, oh, no, that wasn't me. But I was 15 years old, so obviously I wanted the attention. I'm cleaning my brows up with MAC Select Cover Up and NW45. So really became cool with a lot of the girls in that organization. No, I was not a fashionette in the sense of walking down the runway and new designed apparel for the season. But I was a hostess, and I was really cool with the girls. But it really gave me a segue into the things that I knew I liked, beauty and fashion, and, learning that I wanted to be a naturalist in a sense of not processed chemicals, and, being a little Black girl, wanting long hair and putting the towel on our heads. I mean, good God, how many times have I heard this story and thought, oh my God, I thought I was by myself. Being jealous that my sister's hair was thicker than mine and fuller than mine. And now, as adults, she's always complaining about, girl, all this hair, I don't do all this hair. So it's interesting the things that we complain about as young adults, what we now embrace as adults and make us very unique and different. So first things first is I would tell my past self to really just accept who I was. You are dark skinned, you were tall, you were scrawny. Yes, your family calls you olive oil, and yes, you are lanky and your extremities are very long, but one day someone will love you for those very features, for being tall, for being fit and slim, and for being long. I mean, now as an adult, men telling me that, oh, I love long legs. Even my fiance is like, oh, all about the height. So, these are the things that I would nitpick about myself. So first things first is that this too shall pass, shall I say. Being 15, feeling awkward, feeling like I didn't have a place, and, not embracing, my complexion and my heritage and where I come from, and really loving who I am. Second, the whole hair issue. Like, if I could tell my younger self that when you're 30 and over, you are going to chop it all off, you're going to have that much hair, I don't think I would have stressed so much about like perms and process and sitting in people's kitchens and braids and single-use twist. And Lord, that whole journey was bananas. just to ultimately get to this place. You know what I'm saying? Like, God, I would have been did this years ago. But it's just about that confidence factor that I just didn't have. So that would probably be the second most important thing. I mean, obviously the things that we go through in life and the tests and tribulations that we experience with relationships. Woo! If I could tell her, I'd be like, don't go down that road. But with every road that you go down and every obstacle that you face makes you more of the woman that you are going to be today. So, fighting through those moments of being self-conscious, fighting through those moments of being insecure, and, what do you want to do with your life and where you excel. Those are the things that I would tell my past self. For years, I hated being the youngest because I felt like I didn't experience enough, or I didn't have a struggle, or, I didn't have a story to tell. But then I'm thinking, like, God put me second for a reason. Like, real talk, my sister is the baddest chick I know, and I feel like she was destined to be number one on this earth, to rock it out and be like, Amber, this is what you should and should not do. And for her, I'm thoroughly grateful. But it was funny, like, the little things I used to, like, complain about, like, why do I have to be the youngest? And why do I get, it's probably the same things my sister would complain. Why do I have to be first? And why does she get away with things? And I was a rat. I used to tell on my sister, even though I love her to death. I used to be like, she did it. She did it. So, she took a lot of the brunt for me growing up, to pave the way for my own life, and the decisions that I made and what kind of mother I was going to be and what kind of wife I would be. And, all stemming from my parents, obviously. But it's just so interesting. I mean, things definitely happen for a reason, and the relationships and the tests that we go through as adults really, 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 at the time they suck, and you're going to cry and kick and scream and potentially get depressed and not want to eat. But, the win-win is when you come out of that mindset and you evolved into a better person. You've learned, you have lessons to share your children. And, I don't know. It's quite an interesting feat. It's always one of those situations where it's kind of like, oh my God, that's so much easier said than done. But then once it's done, it's like, bring it on. That's kind of how I tackle life sometimes when I'm really overwhelmed. I'm like, I can't die from this. This will only make me stronger. If I couldn't handle it, God wouldn't present it to me. And I say that now after all those nights of like crying to my sister, crying to my mother, my friends and family, just about some of the struggles that I've experienced where I know other people are off worse. I'm not completely blindsided and naive to the fact that their stories are heavier and harder and more life-altering than my little peon of some issues in comparison. But they were my issues nonetheless, and I learned from them. So one, it's growing up and learning who I am and embracing that, this is who I am, and take it or leave it. Getting over being self-conscious about hair and physical appearance. Even though I'm obsessed with makeup, that's more so to continue to encourage people to, think about themselves. Treat yourself good. This is the only vessel you have. So why not, treat it right and treat it good? Because what you put into yourself is what you'll get in return. So, not to sound too philosophical, but yeah, that would be my dear me. That would be my dear me. That the body that I have is loved, that the skin that I'm in is appreciated, and that the story that I have is worth telling. I think that sums it up. So on to the makeup. So I'm using all Makeup Geek products, which lately I've been super obsessed with. I hate getting an eyeshadow that has no color payoff, and I feel like for $5.99 for the mattes, $9.99 for the foils, I'm getting my dollar's worth times a trillion, to a point where even though MAC just came out with these amazing palettes for $85 that you would typically spend maybe $150 on, I will probably get it. But I didn't jump on it, you know? Like, I really wanted to build my Z palette with my Makeup Geek pans. So I'm just doing a neutral eye today, but I wanted to do something funky on my lower lash. And instead of diving into really vibrant colors, I kind of wanted to just play with my neutrals and see how she looks on my lid, which this one's super nice. This one is a neutral taupe creme brulee. Very nice. Very nice. And for the transition color, I use Cocoa Bear. I'm just packing this on the lid. Yeah. Bring it up just a bit because I have a hooded eye. So if I keep it below my crease, you just won't see it. So there's like really no point. So you got to bring the shadows up above the crease. Okay. And then I'm going to take my taper, what is this one? My taper crease. And I'm going to take a dark color. How do I want to do this? I think I'm just going to go right in with more, with this one. What's this color here? Who are you, sir? Mocha. You don't need a lot. Good God, they're very buttery. And I'm just going in the outer corner and building, because I'm going to smoke this out just a little bit and probably drop a couple shades of black in there. Okay. I'm gonna blend. Oh, she's hot. These colors are amazing. And these are just browns, which can be very dull on a dark lid, you know? You know, I really love YouTube for the purpose of like chatting it up with you guys, because when I moved from my home, well, I won't say my home because this is now my home, my fiance would say, but when I first moved across the country, you know, the biggest issue was like meeting other women. Like, I ain't trying to date you, I just want to get a happy hour or two, you know, a little beverage, chat about girl things. But it's been a challenge. So being able to have this outlet on YouTube has been really great for me, because I'm a chatty Cathy, if you don't already know, but also allow me a platform to kind of do what I like to do. And I'm just using my pencil brush, and I'm using Makeup Geek's Corrupt, which is nice. It's like a really dark black. And I'm just building on that mocha that we already applied to the lid, because I want to smoke it out. Like, I want something a little bit more deeper. All right. Oh yeah, I like this. Yeah, guys, this is nice. And then I'm going to take my handy dandy blending brush. And people have asked me about this blending brush. I know that others really like Max 217, but I got this from e.l.f. Cosmetics, and I think I even got it from like Target, but I just like it. It's a really nice, fluffy, really airy. So there's no product on this brush, and I'm just blending everything together. Since these colors are so pigmented. Super cool. She may have a forever customer in this girl. Going back in with my pencil brush and packing on a little bit more black, because you know when you blend, you lose some of that on top of the mocha. Actually, you know what? And I'm going to bring it out just a little bit. That's the beauty of these precision tools. Like, you can control the product. Like, if you want to wing it, which I do. Who doesn't? That's crazy town. So I'm going to do the other eye off camera just to speed this up a bit, because I feel like I've been chatting a bit. And then we'll come back for the foundation. All right, ladies, so we're back. I'm finished doing the other eye. I'm going in with my MAC Select Cover Up in NW45, just to kind of provide a barrier on those areas that I'm always picking with before I put my foundation on. Now, I only have a few, but you know, we're all guilty of this. So for foundation, I'm using my Lancome Tint Adelaide 24 hour, and I'm in the color 550 Suede C. I'm assuming C for cool. I'm just gonna apply it on my skin. I love this product. I've been like having loves with my foundations lately between Lancome and NARS. Like the battle has been real. And then on a drugstore level, Maybelline showing out, showing strong. So like I just try to play around with my foundations on a daily basis. So as you already know, I love using my Morphe M439 buffer brush. I just feel like it gives me an airbrushed finish, very flawless. And it's funny because some people are like, oh, I'm not going for a flawless finish. I mean, wouldn't you want your makeup to always look flawless? I don't understand that one. So maybe someone can comment below and tell me exactly what that means. Because I always want my foundation to be flawless. I mean, just saying. So I'm not going to bore you with this. You know I blend until the sun comes home. So I haven't done my lower lash line only because I wanted to put on my concealer first. I've done it either way, but I end up just like, I can't put my lower lash product on my eyeshadows because I just end up wiping it away when I'm put my concealer on. So I'm going in with LA Girl Pro Conceal HD High Definition, and I'm in the color Fawn because I want a really bright highlight. Just squeezing some product out, and I'm going right underneath the eye in a V. I'm saying V. Yeah, V. In a V, triangle, whatever we want to call this, on both sides. I really like this product. Like, I know some people have been like testifying against how amazing NARS Creamy Radiant concealers are, but I like this. I don't know. Who needs big box? And I'm going down the center of my nose, my cupid's bow, and my chin. And we're clearly ready for a costume party. Let's do it. No. So one little trick that I've been talking about in my other tutorials that I want to share with you today is that we blend all of these wet products in with our beauty blender. That is not new. We spray our beauty blender. Oops. We spray our beauty blender with some fixed frost. But what I'm finding is that you're spraying, depending on how often you're wearing your makeup, quite a lot of product is kind of going to waste. Doing some research, and I've come across so many facial sprays that have rose water in it. So what I've done is created my own rose water fix spray. I do have my big bottle of fix spray just for prepping and priming, but for like these moments when I'm either, you know, blending in foundations or blending in concealers, and I just went to my local international market, and this is rose water. Smells exactly what it says. It smells so good. I'm gonna list the benefits because I didn't dig deep like I should have before this tutorial, but there are huge benefits of rose water with skin. And I just spray my beauty blender and blend in my concealer, and this is really creamy so it doesn't dry too quickly, because you know you could be talking too much and then walk out looking all patchy. But I wanted a dramatic highlight to look lifted and not so grounded with this look. All right. to set my highlight, I go into my Morphe's contour palette. Doesn't have names on it, but Lola, please. I go into my Morphe's contour palette, and to set, it's more of like a caramel brown, like a, not like Ben Nye banana powder, which for me is starting to bother me because I didn't feel like it was giving me a tonal look. Like it to me, it was way too ashy. So I've been using this lately and really been liking it. And I'm just using my e.l.f. brush. It's a little bit fatter head. I don't know what we're going to call this, but you know, the tools that work for your face. And I'm just applying this right over top of the concealer. So it doesn't crease or spread throughout the day. And I mean, I guess you could use more loose powders when you're baking, but I didn't feel like I needed that today. Apply this all over that concealer, my chin. So I already look lifted, which is great. So now we just need to ground the whole look. Okay. And I'm gonna go in with my tapered, what are we calling this? This is my large angled contour from Sigma in F40. And I'm gonna take the darkest brown in the palette, which works for my skin complexion. And I'm just gonna go along the side of my jawbone, cheekbone, this is your jaw, your cheekbone, to really define the space. And this brings the whole contour together. And I use that same product along my jawline. And we're going to repeat the same steps on the left side of my face. Along my jawline. And I also bring this product right on my forehead, just to bring a little warmth to my face if I feel like I'm looking a little too light. And you blend all this together. So you've set your contour. And before I go in with my setting powders, I'm going to go ahead and do my bottom lash line. So for the finale, what really motivated me to put the purple on my lower lash line was this color that I've never worn, but I just gravitated towards it one day in MAC, and I was like, I'm going to do a look surrounding this lipstick. So this is Violetta, and I'm not using a liner. Where's my mirror? Oh, right in front of me. I'm not using a liner just because I couldn't find one in my collection that would do it justice, so here goes. And this is a amplified formula. So I take my Urban Decay makeup setting spray, set the whole look, and then I'm ready to change my clothes and go hang out with my peoples. So it was really good talking to you guys. We covered a lot in my Dear Me, just in my personal experience, and hopefully this is relatable to any other women out there that have experienced those same feelings growing up, and, you know, just loving you. And, you know, when you're going through those difficult moments in life, just stop, drop, pray. And my mother used to always tell me that, you know, when you're feeling like you have it at your worst, just stop, drop, and pray. So, you know, I always call you guys my gems because I feel like we're each individual gems that shine bright on this earth, and we bring so much to the table and contribute in every way imaginable. So I hope you continue to shine bright, and until our next video, gems, see you soon. Bye.